welcome to Uncle's Discussions. You got Nash in the building.
Got Ash in the building.
So today, what is it going to be?
We're going to talk about leadership roles and how you have people that are in leadership roles that put a lot of stress on employees and make them overwhelmed and unappreciated and a list of things like that. And make you feel like your job is unfulfilling, things of that nature. What's your take on that?
Whew.
Let me sit back.
Honestly, first of all, everybody can't be a leader. Just because you might have the qualifications to be a leader does not make you a great leader, right? It comes down to being human. It comes down to placing yourself in your employee's shoes, whoever you're supervising, overseeing, things like that. A lot of times, people in leadership roles, yes, you have to be stern in certain areas like meeting deadlines and stuff like that, but you got to also remember, yes, things happen. Yes, these are relationships. First, especially if you work close knit with your boss, these are like relationships that you're building with your employees at the end of the day. Because if you're really looking for someone to be long term and not have high turnover rates, you have to treat your employees the right way, right? A lot of times, people in leadership roles give out backhanded compliments. You'll be thinking you're doing something great, and you turn around and that was good, bud. It's like, dang, like, can I do anything right around here? You know what I mean? And a lot of times you got to be extremely careful with things like that, especially when it comes down to who's supervising you, right? Because it makes you second guess your work. It makes you feel like, man, forget this company when your job is extremely important, right? But if you constantly like feel like it's a nagging thing with who's supervising you, it really makes you lack in your you know how you show up like in your performance and things like that. I won't lie, a lot of people are not meant to be leaders, like at all. I don't care what their degrees say. I don't care how much experience you might have. You can't really. People are who they are, right? Is it going to show up?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it going to show up who you are, like who you truly are? No matter how you try to come across, who you truly are is eventually going to show up. Like that, prime example, right? You have somebody they do really like sneaky backhanded stuff.
Oh.
Run behind your back to HR. And it's like, yeah, HR hitting you up, and you're looking around like, wait, I never even had this conversation with my supervisor. Where did this come from? You know what I mean? Like, so stuff like that really makes you despise certain people in leadership roles because they're not. A lot of them are not straightforward. A lot of them are not genuine. A lot of them really don't care about. They don't really care about their employees. They care about ratings. They care about what the person above them thinks, what they want, and not realizing like if you treat people good, you'll get good results. People will really show up and thrive in their best because it really makes you feel stagnant. It makes you feel like, man, forget all of this. I'm cool off of all of this. But what's your take on it?
Well, my take on it goes back to actually being transparent. You know, and that communication is important as well because when you're in a leadership role, it's your duty to communicate effectively with your employee, especially like if something changed or you're asking your supervisor something and they're not even giving you the proper answers they're supposed to be. They literally like basically brushing you off and avoiding you and ignoring, you know, the question at hand. And then when you start, you know, making complaints or you start, you know, up in the ante on some situations, here it is, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. It was like this, blah, blah, blah. But it's really simple when you could have, you know, articulated that, you could have explained that early on and said, you know what, here's up, this is going on, you know, this new policy change, you know, that wasn't my intention, you know, may have you. But a lot of the times when a lot of people are very, I'm going to say, passive aggressive in leadership roles, and you think everything is okay, but here it is, they're doing something underhanded to, do something to you, or you have that individual in the work setting that will, throw rocks and hide their hands, and when you're the one that's like loud and boisterous, or you're, making a big deal out of something, and everybody's looking around like, well, what's wrong with this employee? But when in fact, this person of leadership actually is being condescending, they're belittling you, they basically acting as if you're not capable of critical thinking skills. They're making you feel like, you lack intelligence and things of that nature. Like that stuff right there really takes a toll on an employee. Because oftentimes as a leader, you shouldn't have to personalize things. Like you're personalizing things, or it might be something small and you took that and now it shows in your attitude. It shows when you're coming to work. You're not, you go in your office, you shut your door, you don't say anything to anybody, you're very closed off, you act as if you're not human, and you have to meet people where they are, and a lot of times those people in those leadership roles, they try to control the narrative at the job, but they're the ones least control, because at home it's crazy. Yeah, at home it's crazy, but that's not an excuse to, treat people like that in the leadership role. And then here it is, yes, transparency means that, okay, we know you have a boss to answer to. And we oftentimes, everybody gets stressed out. So as a leader, listen, my boss is coming down on me, I apologize, listen, this is X, Y, and Z going on. Not saying that you have to spill every exact detail of what's happening, but at least be transparent so people can know how to deal with you, know how to take you in certain areas and be like, oh, okay, this is going on, this is happening, and then you got those are just like closed straight off. You don't know what's happening. They're pointing a finger, or they're saying, oh, you're doing something wrong, but never explain to you exactly what it was that you were doing wrong and how to fix it and how to rectify the issue in the future. Oftentimes you can assume that somebody knows something. Okay, the title of the job outlines what we're supposed to do, but sometimes things change, or it's like hitting things that you may not know. And the micromanaging takes a toll on people, for sure. It takes a real toll on an individual, because it's a lot. It's called mental health. And mental health is not necessarily like, when people hear that, they think that somebody was diagnosed with a major disorder. No, the job alone is like really like self-care, really taking care of yourself, and really, being able to take care of yourself to the point where you can excel in your job and your position. But when you have somebody over top of you and they're overbearing and they're unrealistic and they're not empathetic as to what is going on, it makes it hard. And that's where, like you said, the turnover rate is very high. It's like, come on now, let's not do that.
Or you come to them with an issue and they brush you off to your other coworkers. This is your responsibility. Everybody has their own things that they're dealing with and trying to complete. What do you do? Then they always say, oh, we're a team. A team where? Where's the team? Where is it at? Because then when you do go in for a life break, it's nothing to, who's helping? Nobody's really helping. At the end of the day, and then there's a lot of comparison with people in leadership roles. Like they compare you to their star employee. Everybody has their own style of working. Everybody has their own style of learning. Everybody has their own style of executing certain things. Everybody has a strong point, right? No two people really work the same. They might have styles in the same ways in certain things that they do, but everybody has a lane and a job. But so often, if you got employee that is like an overachiever or brown noser or whatever it is they doing, and of course the leader is going to say, oh, that's the one. That's the one I'm going to put them. That's the model employee, and I want everybody to exhibit the same things. Everybody ain't pressed up for the same stuff that the employee might be pressed up for. Everybody this may be a temporary stop. So that employee might be their last and permanent thing that they want to achieve. That might have been the highest thing on their goal list. And they're like, I got it. I'm going to overdo this, overdo that. But another employee this is just a stepping stone to get to the big stuff that they're trying to do. You know what I mean? So it's just like a lot of people in leadership roles, yes, they stress you beyond your control. They really do. And people say, oh, it's just a job. No, it depends on what kind of job it is, right? If it's already a high stress job, I don't need no stress from my leader.
Right.
I don't need that. That's not helping me. That's not helping me at all. I need a clear mindset when I'm doing what I do for a living. I don't need no extra stuff. We already have to do with our personal life. We got to deal with our careers. And then I got to have to deal with a leader that's not a leader.
No, it shouldn't even be like that. Absolutely not.
Like, excuse me. So now you want to stay professional, but now it's personal because you're nitpicking, you're micromanaging, and you just flat out being a D head. That's there's no other words to choose for that person. But it really tells more about your personal life than your professional life at the end of the day. Because when you're a leader, you understand, you use a humanistic approach when you're dealing with your employees, right? Because everybody had to be in that space at one point in time. You knew what that felt like, so why are you doing that, right? But that just shows that a lot of people that's in leadership roles that act that way never have been a leader in nothing else in life.
No.
They didn't ever thrive in nothing else. So here I am. The only way I'm able to get here is because my education has gotten me here, right? Or I brown nosed my way up the pipe, whatever I did to get here. And now that I'm here, I'm going to show out. I'm going to act a fool. I'm going to make them pay. Make who pay? We don't even know what you went through. We don't even know what's going on right now.
Why is that our problem?
Yeah, what's happening? Why, if your wife or your husband is, or your children is doing you wrong at home, what we got to do with that? We don't have anything to do with nothing that's going on in your personal life. Because it's showing up in your professional life. And then a lot of times people just say F it. But it's crazy because when your livelihood is attached to your professional life, it's like, dang, and we're not young no more, so we just can't just throw the towel in.
And say, you know what,
you know what
cool.
I mean? But again, it does open your eyes up to other things because when you're micromanaged to that capacity, it lets you know that, dang, I'm really not a person that likes to be micromanaged. I'm really the type of person that need my own business. I'm really the type of person that, because if you solution focus down, I have to implement other things because this ain't it. This not for me. It lets you know what's for you and what's not for you. At the end of the day, and that's a blessing, honestly, to be able to look at that crazy chaos and say, nah, I'm not meant to be in a constricted role like this. I'm not meant for somebody to constantly do this. Oh, it's this. I'm not made for that. And that's where you find out who's made to be bosses and who's made to be workers. And not to say a boss is not a worker, because of course you still work for what you want, but that right there separates the two.
That's that team effort that go along into that. That's why I said if I was a leader, I wouldn't be doing that. Like, I'm a team player. Like, I want to, you know what you need assistance with, I can help you. I'm not going to just be talking and, okay, not for me to pick up your slack, but for me to pick up where you fall and be able to support you in the ways that you need to be supported. And that's the thing when it comes to support and leadership. A lot of people like that support piece. They'll sit there and look at people don't say everything. Like, you know, you gotta look at what somebody's not saying and see what's going on. When you start seeing the employees start, being closed off and, not really, thriving like they should be thriving, that should be a concern. But then you see it and you want to see people fail. That says a lot about them than it versus it's saying it a lot about you. It says a lot about yourself, and it's sad when you have been in a position where you have seen or experienced that kind of thing, and it's like, oh, so you got the power, so now you gotta walk on edge or eggshells because this person, is messing around with your livelihood, and nobody wants to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not cool because you wouldn't like it if you were in the position that you were in and you're being micromanaged, lack of being supported, not being understanding of what's going on. All you're doing is just saying, you know what, you did this wrong, instead of giving constructive criticism in a way that you could give feedback in ways that this person can grow and be able to thrive in what they are doing. You know what, I see you falling. Here's what we can do. Let's come up with an action plan together and see what works and what doesn't work for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's also really actively listening to your employees as well. Because when you hear what your employees saying and really take, some of that and implement that into your leadership role, it really helps at the end of the day. It does. Or you have some people that are in leadership roles that don't need to even work with people. You need to be those people that's just strictly behind the computer and really not interact with people. Yeah. You don't need to deal with anybody on the levels that you're dealing with them on, or you have the leader and you're presenting a problem to them, and they're leaving you ass out to dry, because they're not even trying to sit here and say, hey, okay, make sure you do X, Y, and Z. Now you're left to figure it out. And then when you're left to figure it out and the things that you had to figure out is not done the way that it's supposed to be, now you're getting a backlash because I've expressed this to you. I have stated what's going on. I've told you how I felt. And again, it gets brushed under the rug. Or as an employee, you're not allowed, you're the aggressive one when you're trying to speak out on an issue and you're coming in a professional manner like, hey, I have an issue at this. I didn't like when you did X, Y, and Z. And as a leader, you should be able to be open-minded and be receptive to feedback and open to suggestions, and that way that allow you to grow, because as a leader you should always be open-minded and be able to learn, because we always are able to learn. It's always room for improvement, and that leaves endless possibilities. So when you have a closed-minded individual as a leader and they know it all and they have everything figured out and all of that kind of stuff, that could very well be that leader's downfall as well. Because just because you're in a leadership position doesn't mean that's the end all be all, and you could go around handling people the way that you're handling them, because everybody gets their turn. Or if you're not already getting your turn already, because your boss probably treating you like utter shit, and now you're projecting it on to your employees that you lead because you don't have a voice. And now you don't have a voice. You might be a grown man or woman that can't speak up for yourself, and now you're acting out in ways that you shouldn't be.
Absolutely.
And it's sad.
Absolutely. A lot of leaders have nasty dispositions. A lot of leaders are lacking, for better terms, they're lacking a lot of different things, and it's just like, you gotta think, are these people okay?
Absolutely, I don't think they are.
Sometimes you gotta really look at not just the credentials, but what else do these people bring, right? What is going to get this company to the top of the top and stay there? Because some people can hit the top but don't stay there because they don't know what to do to stay there, right? But a lot of leaders are in it for the money. They're not really passionate about what they're leading, right? And that show up too. A lot of leaders, they're not social. They're more antisocial, and that shows up, because they got the skills, they got the job because of their skill set, not because of their social and their everyday life. It shows when it's time to lead. You can't lead your crew with the same stuff you lead in your personal life. You might be antisocial in your personal life, but you have to be social in your leadership role. It requires that. It requires advocating for your employees. A lot of leaders don't advocate for their employees.
No, they don't.
They leave you in there and you fighting for yourself, and it's like, but I've told you this was going on, and you're not backing me. Do you hear what your boss is saying? or their boss is saying like, hello, speak up, you know what's going on.
And they sit there and look
no,
around.
But y'all could be in a closed setting and they have all the stuff to say, but when it come down to putting it on the table, they can't say anything. They don't say anything.
No.
So that's another bad thing to have in leadership, when you can't be boisterous about what's important. Fight for your crew. Fight for what's right. Fight for what you want somebody to do for you. I just feel like being a leader requires so much more than credentials.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I just think the credentials is the icing on the cake, to be quite honest, but the stuff that make up a great leader really has nothing to do with a degree. To be honest, you need it for certain jobs, but I just feel like it's stuff that a degree can't teach you.
Absolutely.
To become a great leader. And of course, a degree is extremely important. I'm not saying that, but I just feel like to be a great leader has nothing to do with the piece of paper that you earn at all. I just feel like it got more to do with who you are, what you know, your outlook on things, what are you pouring into your crew members, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff, you know, how you present to the world, how you show up, how you advocate, you know what I mean? Like you said, effective communication, the active listening, you know, the transparency, you doing to others what you want done to you, the humanistic approach. There's so many different things that go into leadership and that people lack. And people say, "Oh, you sick?" No, I'm mentally drained from you. I'm sick of you.
And I'm allowed to feel that way.
Y'all need to be implementing mental health days in these jobs. Not no damn. Everything ain't about sick physically. I'm mentally sick of you. You understand what I'm saying? And it drives you to get unprofessional. Like, and that's what I mean when I say when that light bulb goes up. That's how you know, like, it's time to implement change. It's time to do something different. Like,
oh, for sure.
Now you know this is not for you.
You know it. Or the ones that's not open to ideas, or they'll say, "Oh, I shut it down" and all that, right? And then bring an idea up as if they don't want, as if it was them that actually came up with the idea, and not giving credit where credit is due. Mm-hmm. You know, you're absolutely
that's
right.
A snake.
Yeah, snake in the grass, because you think about not everybody in leadership roles, but oftentimes you find people that have narcissistic personalities are in leadership roles, you know, and that alone is very scary when it all boils down to it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you finding yourself stressed out to the point where it's no return. Some people be going out physically sick now because it overspilled into their physical health, because they were so mentally drained. And the first thing the job said, "Oh, did you think about self-care? Oh, did you call the employee assistance program? Are you okay?
You're the problem."
I've did all these things, and I've set the reset button multiple times, and here it is. I'm coming up with the same issue that I had left with from before. So now what? So all that sick, no, people don't actually be physically sick. People need those days where it's like, you know what? I need to take a moment and really, you know, focus on me for a second. That's what a sick day aligns with mental health. Not necessarily, "Oh, my stomach hurt. Oh, no. Absolutely not." Yeah. So yes, that's very important to really, you know, assess the situation and really understand what's for you, what's not for you. Understand how would you be as a leader, or how, you know, what type of work environment you would like to work in, if that's the case as well.
And there's and also unrealistic expectations of your employees. It's like, would you do that? I mean, seriously, like, what are you asking me? I mean, let's be real here. Would you really do that? Would you be receptive if somebody came to you and did that? Or are you going to turn up on them? I mean, what? Do you hear what you're asking me to ask somebody? Mm-hmm. Are you hearing what you're asking me to do? That's how you know, like, are you okay? You can't be okay.
When you get like that, it's you being insubordinate and all this other stuff.
Label me what you want, but you must be crazy because I ain't doing that.
Oh, I can't.
You go try it and see what results you get.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. And then it's like, yes, everybody won't do the same thing, but understand me. People are human beings, okay? And just because something might not make sense to me or you, that may have made sense to them until you bring it to their attention. And it's like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So don't ask me to do something you wouldn't want somebody to do to you or ask you. Because I'm not going to do it. I'm really not going to do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in a nutshell, it's just like this. If you're in a leadership role, be a leader. And know what that entails. It doesn't just entail your skill set. You really, really got to get in there and do unto others what you want done to you. You know, and it's no bad thing to go maybe once a week or maybe once a month do a nice little gesture for your employees. Maybe bringing in coffee, maybe a pizza day, maybe it be little gift cards. Sometimes incentives works. You know what I mean? And make people go a little bit harder like that, like they really care about me. Maybe you really don't, but I feel like you really care about me. Because you went out your way to bring us in some coffee, bring us in some donuts, bring us in a pizza, give us a gift card. They mean you thought outside of the job. You know what I mean? So that kind of stuff is important as well. Honestly, because I know me, I would be the type of employee I remember my employees, right? The type of leader that I can probably remember your birthdays. I remember important things. You told me something and I'm checking in like that. How did that go? Mm-hmm. Like this last week you said such was going on. How did it turn out? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Did you make out good? Like, or if I know one of my employees is going out for a surgery or something, I'm checking in that same day. I'm showing up with a card and things I know they may like to let them know that I really care about you outside of this job, because when you're in a leadership role, you're building a rapport with your employees, right? And don't pretend you care if you don't care. Don't ask about things you don't care about.
Exactly.
Don't do it. It doesn't make it shows up that you really don't care.
And the ones that want to see you grow.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna push you. Listen, I think that if you work a little bit more right here, then you'll be in that position in no time.
That part.
Those are important leadership things. You gotta be. That's a real leader. At the end of the day. And that's why when it's time to leave, they're gonna be looking around like they doing a big one on us. Like everybody wanna get in that company. Man, these employees ain't trying to leave. Like, so I mean I wish I could, so now I gotta expand. You know what I mean? Now it's time to expand, to grow more, to get more people in, to feel that love, because when you inside of something, it's supposed to be like your family, away from your family, right? And that's just real talk. And if once you know that there's something out for you, change the narrative.
That's it.
Change it. I know we all grown and our livelihood depends on our careers and things right now, but we working towards being solution focused. Yes, we all gotta talk about it because or I don't care, I guess we could call it complain. I don't really care what you vent, whatever, same difference. But make sure as you're venting and complaining about these things, that you're doing something to make a change in it overall. That way you can get yourself up out of it, because I'm telling you, the minute that you leave those miserable leaders and things, you'll be feeling like so many weights is lifted up off those shoulders, and then you better to thrive again. Because especially if you in a position from obtaining a college degree, you didn't do sleepless nights and long papers, 30-page papers, internships, running from the 8-hour job to going into class. You didn't do all of that for nothing. You really want to thrive in the position that you chose and the career that you. So change the narrative at the end of the day. You know how that is. And this is Nash signing off.
Ash signing off. Bye bye.